Hi everybody. It's kind of a special day today because my beloved demon is visiting from the city. And this will be my first official doll content video. I've made tons and tons of videos, of course, unboxing ones of dolls, but there's been a significant change in my collecting direction. Many things have happened, where I personally will never recover from COVID, not the sickness, but the shutdowns and what have you, because I haven't been employed since then. So I don't have the kind of money I did before to spend on dolls. And then a lot of very sad things have happened that have pretty seriously impacted me too, with lots of loved ones. And a good friend of mine who also collected art dolls, his collection kind of came to grief in a way that scared me a lot, because art dolls are incontrovertibly art. They're one of a kind, made by artists, and I love them. They are my first love in doll collecting, but they're a heavy responsibility. You want to make sure that they're going to be safe into the future. I've got my another reason we're making the video today is because Demon is so much better than my Pivo. And he's my very favorite cameraman, so I'm taking advantages of him being here. But go ahead and sit down, Demon, because this may be kind of a longish video. How does the light look?
It filters in and out a little bit, but it's all right.
Should I turn off the chandelier?
I don't know. It goes from like warm to cool on its. I don't know what's going on, but
try swinging your chair a little more over so that your back is more to the window. Forgive us for all of this. This is going to be, I don't know how to edit video right now, but that's also part of this. Is I'm just sort of making content that when I can edit video, I'll cut all of that kind of stuff out. But right now, I don't really have. It's a very gray, chilly day, which is why I've got my my cottage core gear on here, and yeah, and so the light, I know that the light is best with the light behind, and there's not, I thought it would be good actually that the light wasn't too bright today, but maybe I'll have to cave in and get like a ring light or whatever those are. Anyhow, some pretty serious losses took a pretty heavy emotional toll on me, and I kind of just shut down for a very long time. Felt very disconnected from most things, and but dolls. So one of the things I forgive my incoherence. I really maybe should write scripts. I don't want to do that. I want this to be just conversational, but I collected art dolls primarily. They were my first love as a doll collector. And I have Demon has taken me on many wonderful road trips to buy artwork from the artists directly. And I loved that so much. And perhaps we will do that occasionally even now. But the buying of art dolls is going to be much diminished from what it once was. We did take a road trip to help a friend with a collection, and that also anyhow. We won't talk about art dolls right now. Maybe that's a little bit too much. I got a little bit of money at Christmas from my mother, and I decided that I was going to buy some Playline dolls because of this doll, Chanel Onyx. Now, I'd never really considered Playline dolls. I bought a handful. I had a handful of Monster High dolls that I'd gotten in thrift stores to customize. I love the doll customizers. I watch all of the doll customizers and absolutely love that. I'm a visual artist. I make dolls myself, you know, in a small way, but maybe I'll get into that more. Anyhow, I never really considered buying Playline dolls as a collector because I'm a snob, basically, because they weren't. I do maintain that dolls are fine art, bona fide. They're important art. Things to do with women and children are always trivialized, and I really hate that on the one hand, and I really love that on the other hand, because it's sort of this secret realm that women and children inhabit that is precious. Kawaii culture, cuteness as a means of as a form of revolution. I love that idea. But anyhow, as to Playline dolls, when I saw Chanel Onyx, it was like, she is just simply one of the most beautiful dolls I have ever seen in any genre of dolls. I adore her. So when I got this little bit of money, I started looking into buying more Rainbow High, Shadow High dolls. And the next thing you know, somebody not too far from me was selling the whole line of the first line of Shadow High. Shadow High, I thought was a brilliant idea. The first series especially, and I still do. I think that is just genius. I love them so much, and I got all of them, and then I just started. There's something about the colors of them and the beautiful big eyes that really, really engaged me in a way that I hadn't been since I lost my father. And I'm going to display them in a room here. I live in the house that my father helped build. This house it was my grandparents' house. So I have big plans for the Rainbow High dolls and a bunch of other very brightly colored, mass-produced Playline dolls. I hope to be a grandmother one day. Maybe I won't be, but I love children very, very much. And I would like to have a room of dolls where there are dolls that children can actually play with. Even, maybe that may never happen, who knows, but should a child come by, I would like there to be dolls that they can play with. The art dolls, of course, they cannot play with or even touch. And so I really fell hard for Rainbow High, only to discover that right at the moment that I fell in love with Rainbow High dolls, they were going to actually change their target demographic to younger children, and they were going to have less articulation, less sophisticated fashion, and less articulation. And articulation is pretty darn important to me. There's lots of dolls I really think are very charming that I don't buy because I really do. I like to pose dolls. I want to, now that I can't buy them so much, I want to make stuff for them. Make sceneries, backdrops, furniture, lots of stuff. But you can imagine my dismay. It's like, oh my God, I've fallen in love with these beautiful little dolls, only to discover that the ones that I really love, they're not going to make them anymore. So I kind of lost my mind. And I just started buying Rainbow High dolls, as many as I could get my hands on. And some of them, I bought a very expensive Poppy Rowan in the butterfly dress. FOMO to the max. And that was stupid. But I don't really regret it because she is absolutely breathtaking. And I'm kind of slowing down now because they're getting harder and harder to come by at a good price. And not only that, so I had them all arrayed in the kitchen in Scarborough, where my husband and my best friend live. And now I live now in the forest with the cats and Boo. And I love that very much too. But I'm kind of lonely too. And I mean, dolls, you're never alone when you collect dolls, that's for sure. But before I moved here, when I was amassing the Rainbow High dolls, I was still in the city. I was living in the city with demon and my best friend. And she didn't really care for the Rainbow High dolls because they were just a little too pretty. I mostly collect creepy dolls. Creepy dolls are kind of my thing. Not really gory ones, not really. They have to be pretty beautiful as well as creepy, but that's kind of my thing. And the Rainbow High dolls are just categorically not really very creepy. That's not their thing. So she was surprised. She was surprised that I liked them so much. She was surprised that if I was going to go for a mass-produced doll, that it wasn't going to be Monster High. And I had some Monster High dolls, like I said, that I would get in like bags for $4 at Value Village. And I had them with a mind to customizing them someday and didn't really think about them very much. But I said to her, after falling head over heels in love with the Rainbow High girls, I sort of shied away from the Monster High dolls because I knew that would be a slippery slope. If I actually wanted to start collecting Monster High dolls, God knows where that would end, because they are very much my thing, and they are beautiful little dolls. But I resisted until I saw Ghoulia Yelps. So I just got this. This is the Creeproduction Ghoulia Yelps. But when I saw Ghoulia Yelps in this outfit, it was like, okay, well, it's all over for me now. I have to have her. Because I just think that is the coolest, like Chanel here. She is just too awesome for words, and I love her. Now, so I joined the Fang Club. Oh, before I go any farther, let me interject that another very attractive thing, very, very attractive thing about collecting Playline dolls, mass-produced dolls, they're not the responsibility that art dolls are. That's pretty important. But more than anything else, maybe even more than the characteristics of the dolls themselves, of course that's fundamental, is I also fell in love with the world of young doll collectors. When I was collecting art dolls, I also collected antique dolls, and I also, was interested in things like Robert Tonner dolls, and especially the creepy, like Evangeline Ghastly or Sinister Circus. I loved them too. Or the glamour, some fashion dolls. Fashion dolls, I'm not a Barbie. We'll make a whole Barbie video one day, because I have complicated feelings about Barbie. I don't collect. And, but I do think she's an important doll. No two ways about that. But the young doll collectors, so in that world, in the world of antique dolls and art dolls, there's lots of young art doll makers, but they're pretty expensive. So there's not a whole lot of young art doll collectors. And I belong to something called the Virtual Doll Convention, run by a woman named Rachel Hoffman, who does big online doll conventions. And I love that community very much as well, and found great solace there until I lost the income to buy those kinds of dolls. Then I had to kind of distance myself from all of that, because so I started researching Rainbow High initially, and started see there's the young doll in the old school, the UDFC, United Federation of Doll Clubs, UFDC. It's mostly older ladies, and they all lament that there aren't more young doll collectors. Now, antique dolls, oh my God, I love them as well, but the really fine ones are pretty much becoming museum only. Very wealthy people can buy them. I'm happy with reproductions, and I have quite a few, especially Googlies, but that whole world is largely older women, and men too, older women and men, but and very commonly, so any young doll collectors in that community, oh my God, they're like, they are adored, because people worry that there aren't enough young doll collectors. So you can imagine my delight upon researching Rainbow High to see that the world of young doll collectors is alive and kicking full tilt. They're just not collecting the kind of dolls UFDC generally is interested in. So I love there's so many wonderful, wonderful young doll collectors that I follow devotedly now. Clawdeena 9, I think, is an absolute superstar for Monster High. The long form YouTube videos, the encyclopedic knowledge, ex Canadensis, Darling Dolls, these long form doll presenters, Chad Marvelous. There's so many. I can't Rodney Rainbow for like just how-to stuff. So I want to thank all of the young collectors for providing me with emotional solace in a time of great need, because I just watch them. Even when I'm not actually watching them, I usually have the computer on and I'm listening to them in a very difficult time. It's been a very, very difficult time. And so I'm extremely grateful and for the enchantment this community has provided me. But now back to the dolls. So I'm not a completionist kind of doll collector. I'm an extremely eclectic sort of doll collector. But I sure do feel that pull. Like I really want every Monster High doll. It's ridiculous and impossible. Just yesterday, I thought I was going to get a huge lot, 200 Monster High dolls for $200. And it did seem too good to be true. It was quite a distance away for me to drive. I'm terrified of driving, but she was willing to ship them. Anyway, the whole deal kind of fell through. I think probably most likely what happened was she was willing to ship them, but I think probably maybe somebody more local to her just swooped in and said, oh, forget shipping them, I'll give you here's the cash, I'll take them right now. Or it might have been a scam, in which case I dodged a bullet. But either way, the kind of notable thing about not getting those dolls was I was heartbroken. I still kind of am a little heartbroken today. And that, I don't know, there's some kind of warning twinge there that, okay, time to pull back a little bit. It's like, yeah, that's too bad. There were so many. There was like Luna Moth was in there, and Greta Gremlin, and a lot of dolls that I would really love to have, not just to customize, and lots of, like, I've got piles here of Frankie and Draculaura and Cleo and Laguna, way more than I'm going to keep. I'm going to pick out my favorite one. Favorite two. One of them I will try and make their core doll outfit if I can't find. No, I'll actually try and make the core doll outfit. I won't even bother looking for it, just as a seamstress kind of challenge. I love to sew. And the other one will be kind of a Skullector doll idea, but I will make up the costume. I will, customize that doll. And so then I'll do this when will receive the very first doll the demon very kindly bought me for Valentine's Day was the Jinafire doll. Now I don't have a G1 I don't have a G1 Jinafire. I've got a Laguna Fire, two of them. So what I want a core doll, a fabulous Skullector one, and then a customized one that I make. And I'll do that for each of the dolls that I get a Skullector doll for, and then other dolls too. So that's my plan with Monster High. And yep, Ghoulia there just set me down the slippery slope. So Jinafire won't be coming for quite some time. And so we also got we got a fancy Frankie. I didn't get her from the Skullector Club. I got her off eBay. She was so she's my fancy Frankie. I probably, if there was a Skullector Frankie, she'd have to be pretty special, because I think this Frankie is extremely beautiful. So who we did get from the Fang Club, who was very controversial, and I'm late to the party for everything. I'm so late to the party for these contemporary dolls, but lots of people had a lot to say about operetta will be coming too. And she wasn't all that expensive. Oh, that's another thing. That's hilarious in the young doll community is people talking about, especially the American collectors. It's like, oh my God, you're paying so little for dolls. But I understand it's everything is relative. So $75 for now $75 American. This came out to be about $135 Canadian, Lenore Loomington. But I had to have Lenore Loomington for a few reasons. One was I was hoping she was going to be more glow in the dark she is. I may take her out of the box and paint all that strangely colored accoutrement she have. I may paint that so that it is glow in the dark. And I thought that was going to be kind of a surprise feature that she would really light up in the dark. But that's fine. I have read everything that Edgar Allan Poe has written. I am a big, major Edgar Allan Poe fan. I have the only living dead dolls I've got are Edgar Allan Poe and Annabelle Lee. Although living dead dolls, we'll get back to them at a future time. So I had to have Lenore Loomington because of the Edgar Allan Poe connection. Also, I love the idea of the designer dolls. I love the idea that Rebecca Shipman has designed this doll. Now, the little spider doesn't have a name, but I'm going to call the little spider RP because that's the name of the designer that designed the little spider. And so there was a lot of people involved in designing Lenore. But I hope that's, who I hope is going to be a featured designer. Oh, look how beautifully they put the tissue paper on there. Who I really hope will have a designer doll is Adam DeFelice, who is the sculptor that sculpts the faces. And I'm guessing probably the shoes as well, although I don't know that. That would be an interesting thing. Any of you wonderful young collectors to do a feature presentation on Monster High shoes and who designs them, because they are really something. Yeah, the Monster High design, so many interesting things. Okay, are we ready, Demon?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so here is Rebecca Shipman's awesome artwork. I love that she wrote a poem for Lenore. Anybody who says that Lenore was not worth $75, I wish. I don't know. I think she was. I think she's gorgeously beautiful, just in her own right. Even if there wasn't any Edgar Allan Poe connection, I think the fact that the designer wrote a poem about her, and I watched the reveal episode that they had. Hello, Lenore. Oh my God. So I have seen countless box opening videos of Lenore. I probably won't even bother. I may take her out of the box. I won't do it today. So, as I said, I'm late to the for the box opening, the reveal. Everybody's already seen Lenore unboxed countless times and all of her wonderful details and accoutrement documented. So I'm probably not going to bother doing that. What do you think, Demon? It is different though. Like I said, I've watched, I can't even tell you how many. I've watched every Lenore Loomington unboxing that I could find on Facebook, which was many, and love to hear what everybody thinks about her. And I thought, well, it's going to be kind of anticlimactic. And she came ages ago. She's been in Scarborough. She was addressed to my old address, and so Demon hasn't been able to come up and visit me for a while. And so I've been very patiently waiting to unbox this doll for quite some time. And I thought, oh, well, I've seen her so many times unboxed now that it's going to be kind of boring when I unbox her, but not so. Not so at all. Yes, indeed. There is still a world of difference between. So everybody knows what does glow and what doesn't glow. But I think I was so sure that the strangely colored plastic accoutrement would glow in the dark. So I may very well take her out of the box and paint all of the things that don't glow in the dark that should. They will. Another thing I'd like to do with a lot of the Monster High dolls, like I said, there she is. Oh, so to very briefly go back to Rainbow High for a moment. Monster High and Rainbow High, what an interesting contrast the two of them are in the MGA, all the, the infighting between them, and I love LOL dolls as well. Was Sabrina St. Cloud here? So Sabrina St. Cloud is kind of a triumph for me. The seller I found her from a seller on Facebook Marketplace, and the seller that was selling her had several other dolls, and we just couldn't connect. It was like it was very difficult to set it up. It took weeks, maybe even a couple of months to actually go and get this doll. I really didn't think it was going to happen, but I really wanted to have Sabrina St. Cloud, which you couldn't find. You couldn't find new in box, but I don't really, to tell you the truth, I do have a lot of new in box dolls that are Rainbow High that I'll leave in the box, but I'm actually happy when I find ones that are in great condition and not in the box, so that I can play with them and pose them and stuff. And her, I have Meline, the gold one, out of box, and I have Aisha Sterling in box. But her, not only is she rose gold and stunningly beautiful, and she has everything, her second outfit, the whole 9 yards. But so Chanel Onyx, hands down, is my favorite Rainbow High doll. But a close second is Delilah Fields. So I wanted to have Sabrina because she and Delilah Fields are best friends. Aren't dolls seductive? Aren't they just so wonderful? I'm quite a reclusive person. I'm not, I'm not socially awkward. I relate. I can deal with people easily. But I really do love to be alone, and I think that dolls are important artwork. Mass produced like this, made by artists one of a kind. Whatever kind of dolls they are, dolls are one of the oldest, they're one of the very first artworks that human beings probably ever made. And they're so meaningful because we play with them as children. Maybe they get broken and get thrown away, and there is that, they're just toys. But toys are hugely important. And it's kind of seeing that now with this sort of doll collecting phenomena that's going on, driven by nostalgia and all of that. And dolls stimulate creativity more than most kinds of toys. Now there are like toys like Lego, building sorts of toys that also stimulate play is hugely important because imagination is so very, very important. But dolls, there's all kinds of artists are always trying to come up with ways to make art more interactive, so that the person that is feels the art, so that it isn't just an object you look at, removed and distant. Interactive art, like Bertolt Brecht in theater and things like that, the third wall, all these kinds of ideas are pretty important in art. When you come to dolls and it's like, oh, dolls are just toys, they're not art, that's just nonsense. It's like, excuse me, dolls completely obliterate the third wall. You interact with dolls, you take dolls personally. So from that point of view, dolls are very high art indeed, effortlessly. And to say that they should be taken more seriously is kind of paradoxical, because what I think needs to be taken more seriously, like kawaii culture as a revolutionary stance is that there are things about humanity that should be valued a great deal more than they are. And gentleness. Another young, she's not a doll collector, maybe she is, Nina Lay is a young academic. There are a lot of young academics that there's no line between scholarship and popular culture, and I love that too. So she was talking about kawaii culture. She has a lot to say about fashion trends and what they mean socially, which I love. And she was saying that there is a feminist critique of kawaii culture in that it's sort of that young women are objectifying themselves. And now I don't know, maybe there's something to that, but my best friend is a professor of social justice and equity, and we have a lot of interesting conversations about much of this sort of stuff. And she was of that opinion too. Like she hates brats. Oh, she hates them so much. But all of that kind of slut shaming that goes on about, in the name of feminism, it's like, excuse me, how is that any different than a judge saying to a young woman who's been assaulted that, well, if she didn't want to get assaulted, she probably shouldn't wear such a short skirt. It's like, don't be ridiculous. That's terrible. That's like, you should be able to, there is no clothing that is an invitation. So this being, dolls sexualizing children and all of that, it's like, get your minds out of the gutter, Nudity and clothing have nothing to do with sexuality. We're all naked shouldn't be such a big deal. And certainly women don't wear clothes to invite assault. What a preposterous notion that is. Anyhow, I could say a great deal about that. It makes me quite angry. Play should not have all of these. We're gonna have to make a Barbie video one time, because it's not as if I'm guilty of this to some degree as well, and my daughter taught me a real lesson about Barbie. We'll talk about that some other time, when she was a tiny little girl. Okay, so have I wound myself out yet? Have I, Demon? Are you getting tired of sitting there?
I can do this all day.
Can you? Well, thank goodness. So as you can see, up in the forest, my whole sort of objective is to turn this beautiful, beautiful cedar house into a kind of a gallery, maybe a studio. It's my daughter owns this house, and I'm just sort of the property manager, I guess. And Demon and I are sort of life tenants. We will live here for so my parents lived here, and my grandparents lived here. My grandparents and my uncles and my father built this house. So it's I'm very happy to be up here with Boo and the cats, but I do have to kind of start doing stuff again. So, and hence this video, and wanting to be a part of the doll collecting community has kind of saved me emotionally. And so I thank all of you young content creators with these sorts of dolls who've, I have gone a little bit overboard. As I said, I'm kind of, this not getting this lot, that I took it so hard, kind of was a little, it's like, okay, enough. You have enough dolls now. Just stop. A lot of money. I could have bought 2 or 3 very expensive art dolls for the amount of money I have spent on all of these fellas. But the thing is that there was kind of a panic, because they're just simply not making these lovely things anymore. They're still making them, but they're not, and they are lovely, but they aren't what they were. So there's still a ton of both a ton of Monster High dolls and a ton of Rainbow High dolls that I would dearly love to have, but I have enough. I do not have to have. And you know what? That's a funny thing too, because as I said, sorry, Lenore, isn't that a beautiful cloth? And maybe I'll have to have this cloth for her expressly. I watch the young content creators that collect Monster High and Rainbow High, and I love their collections. I love the floor to ceiling shelves, and sometimes there's even kind of aisles, almost like a retail arrangement, with the hundreds and hundreds of Rainbow High and Monster High dolls, and I am every shade of green with envy. But I can't do that. I can't do that. I don't have nearly that many dolls, but I have such an eclectic collection of dolls. And the thing that I love to do with dolls is arrange them. So I've got these magnificent tables that my sister gave me. And I'm also very interested in set design and all kinds of art projects I have in mind that the dolls will be the subjects of that. And so it's that to just have a complete collection. I don't really actually want that, and yet it pulls me. I do want every single Monster High doll. I do want every single. I can't deny it, but it's crazy, and I just can't. Most of them would have to be in storage anyway. So not getting these 200 dolls, Monster High dolls. Oh yeah. I would probably be heartbroken about that till the day I die. I'll never know. Had I jumped in my car and raced off, would I have them now? Who knows? Who knows? Doesn't matter. I don't want to get clearly I have emotional work to do that it could impact me that much. So yes, to the young collectors and their content and the fascinating discussions that nobody else wants to have. You know what I mean? Like poor Demon puts up with an awful lot of this. As my daughter, less so. She's like, enough. She doesn't really want to hear it. But I don't know what it is that is just so enthralling about it all, but I thank all of you young doll collectors for your magnificent collections and content and warmth and even the contention. A lot of backseat artists in the young doll collecting community. Oh my goodness. Start making dolls. But I like that too. I enjoy that very much. It's very stimulating. That's creative too. Even the contention, why didn't they do it this way? And why didn't they use a better fabric? And what are these shoes? These shoes they used on Sweet 16. And I love that so much. And you have been like a life preserver to me, you young content creators. And of course, not to slight my older doll community either, who have been also hugely important to me, but I did have to detach myself for economic reasons from them a little bit. But all right, I think I have finally talked myself to a standstill, and I don't know what I'll actually do with this footage. Assess the lighting for one thing, and probably try and cut it up. I don't have a computer powerful enough for editing right now, but I want to make content anyway so that I'll have stuff to cut up and assemble. And oh, that's bad, Demon. Listen to that. We have a elderly cat who may need antibiotics. What's going on, Boo Boo? Anyhow, that's enough of that. I've got real life to live. Real life is very, very important, of course. And doll collecting is real life. And if anybody who tries to trivialize it and why should a grown person be playing with toys? Why shouldn't they? Bye, everybody.